this thing on? Oh, you know what? I know what I was supposed to do. We are live, hopefully, right? There's only one way for me to know, and that's to look at my own channel. If you're not used to being here, this is typically how we start, with me going, I don't know what's happening. So I hope you enjoy that. But once I see we're live, I feel better now. Ah! I don't want to hear myself. No, stop. We're professionals here. So I also don't use this very often. Like I was saying, greetings. My name is Brian. Welcome to KillCo Whiskey Musings. It's so nice to see all of you. Hold on. I have to have the chat open. It's so nice to see all of you here with me tonight. We're starting a little early for my streams, but I think there's a very good reason why. There's a very good reason. You may already know all of the people who are making the chat go by so fast. An old friend and acquaintance of mine is here tonight. Mr. Acquaintance of mine and friend, are you ready to roll? You're good to go. Up. Hello.
Hi, buddy. How are you doing?
You're going on your third hour of being live. It's insane.
It's a weekly occurrence. It's easy. No problem. It's always a pleasure, right?
That's right. It is for you, isn't it? You just keep going.
Yeah.
I'm like, I make it through an hour. It's like, okay, bye. This is too much socializing.
Yep.
I try to click on as many of these as I can while we're chatting, because lots of people here. Hello. Thank you, everyone who's liking and subscribing and everything. That's cool. For those who are new, and this doesn't happen often, but for some reason it's happening a lot tonight. Who knows why? If I can find it. There is a thing that happens if you do subscribe, but I don't know if I can find it.
Technical gremlins. It's just we just need to roll with it, right? When it happens.
Oh, it's not technical. It's just usually, it's like, where is that? Here it goes. Let's see if it works. Thank you to the new subscribers. That's how I say hello. Oh, stop. Good. But if you will see that, I'm warning you now. The only other one I think is for patrons, and I don't know if that's happened in a while. I know it hasn't. So I don't know what to drink. You've had like 5. God, I don't have my.
I had a warm-up session tonight. I've already hosted a stream tonight, as you hinted towards. So
yes, it's a secret stream. Don't tell anyone.
But you held something up, and we've both got the same bottle, and I think might be a nice light one to start the things. Yeah,
it is. It's a beaut.
Is it your suggestion, right? We've both got the same bottle,
yes.
but my bottle is getting quite low now. Yours is not particularly high either, which is worrying, right?
Yeah.
Now I don't know if this brand is available to you in the Northeast, is it? Loch Lomond. Oh, you do get it. Okay, so that's still. I've got the exact same bottle on my shelf just behind me. That branding as well. That's the previous branding. They've just updated it slightly with new labels.
Oh, all right.
But this is a bit of a renaissance distillery because for a long time they were fully focused on volume production, contract malts, contract production, and not a lot of focus on their own malts. And when they did put their own malts out there, it tended to be bottom shelf stuff, like a lot of other distilleries did for a long time. But now they're really finding their stride. Sorry?
That was a wild part. I found it for fairly cheap. People have been telling me, like I posted it on Instagram, probably. And I had numerous comments saying, like, buy all of it. Get as many as you can.
Oh. $60.
It was around 40 or 50, something like that.
Wow.
So yeah, well, US dollars it is. So I don't know how that translates.
Yeah.
Oh, my mother's here. Hi, Mom. Hiya.
Hello, Mama KillCo.
Mike Franklin, all these familiar faces and so many new faces, but also some that I'm used to seeing in your chat. So that's pretty awesome. I like that. The hard part is to get this dilemma, the at stuff when people at you on chat. I try to catch those, but this thing,
it's difficult. It's difficult. I tend to use the YouTube chat. I find it just a bit more easy on the eye. than the back end chat.
Yes. The hard part is, like I said, because the ats aren't highlighted. I don't know what they're like for super chats. I don't have super chats yet. We're getting there. We really are tonight. Just it's pretty cool.
Wait, where's the channel at now? 731 subs, Brian. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Yep. I don't know. I lost count earlier.
Yeah, 731. It's I was just saying that earlier when I was talking about Jeff Whiskey. I've been talking to Gav's drams about it as well. You know, some of the smaller channels, Jeff's just made it over 1,000. It's becoming harder and harder, a bigger challenge as time goes on. You know, we're all we're saturated the YouTube minutes for whiskey, I think. So we all need to focus on bringing this content we can in order to grow the audience, I suppose, and you know, try and lift the audience for everyone, I think. But it's still a wonderful place to be. You enjoy it, don't you?
Yeah, it's been a wild ride. There's so much what's the word you use, serendipity kind of things that have just happened. Even me getting into whiskey just was like the amount of things that had to go off for it to actually happen and become what it was or is bonkers. I don't know how
it's so crazy that you would almost imagine it was planned for you, right?
Almost. I'm like, I didn't plan on any of this, so I don't know what's happening. I'm just I like to think I am constantly falling forward and yet somehow catching myself every time. And I just keep on going.
It's a good way to, let's raise a glass to that. It's a good way to think about it.
Yes.
Cheers, my friend.
Cheers.
I love this whiskey.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Do you remember when we first had this with me? Because I do.
Yes. Can I tell a story about it?
Oh, do. I mean, I have it.
Well, the story I'm about to tell is in the lobby at La Quinta.
Yes, very late.
Would that be correct? So I took a bottle across to share at in Texas last year in 2022, and there was lots and lots of bottles there. My bottle was back in the room, and I don't know who I said it to. It might have been you, it might have been Leanne, it might have been someone. I said, I've got a bottle with me. I'm going to get it and share it. And you know, there was a kind of short freeze on of excitement, mostly from me. And I nipped along and I grabbed the bottle, and from uncorking until the last drop poured was less than 20 minutes. Do you remember?
Oh, I think it was gone, huh?
Yeah. And it was just, you know, there's still quite a lot of people in the lobby, of course. But I opened it and I just started pouring it. And it was just the next minute I think it was Leanne took it and she managed to pour away the last 2 or 3
I think I remember her doing that because I got like close to the end. It was almost as close as your bottle is now to where it was done. And I got a little taste of it, but it was rather funny.
Well, it was a real acid test for me because you know how much wonderful whiskey we sip when we're over in Texas, right? There's lots of great whiskey just getting passed around. Everybody just desperate to share and just an amazing experience. And then, you know, I'm bringing out this really light 10-year-old whiskey from a wee innocent, humble first fill bourbon cask. And, you know, you're thinking if something like this, if it can stand up, if it can strike people, then I know it's a good one. So obviously you enjoyed it enough to pick one up, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, that was the hard part really, like getting it over here. It's like, you know, I haven't gone over to you to get it yet. But just getting it over here was like a hit from the freaking shipping. I was like, oh God, I gotta have it though.
Did I bring it over for you? Did I bring yours?
No. I had to get it over the shipping way. From overseas.
Oh, you had to ship it through Royal Mail.
Oh, yeah. And that was like, you want this bottle, huh? Well, here's the shipping. Oh,
yeah.
Good. Must have it. It's
wow.
Fine.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that. Yeah.
Oh, I needed it. I needed to share this with other people, and I'm so glad I got to taste it with you officially. I remember the scenario for me was, I think that was the Bastard's Ball had gone on. So that's one hurdle for you and your whiskey, because everyone's been drinking whiskey all day. Then I went to the vault because being the Somm guy, that's like the perk of the after it. It's like, all right, Bastard's Ball is done. Now I get to go and pour whiskey for a bunch of people. The distillers, the people who were pouring all day for everyone, typically go up to the vault and we get to pour for them. But after that is when I went to see you at La Quinta. So it was already late. And I remember I forgot my glass. I didn't have anything to pour with, so I grabbed some kind of paper cup. And he just went, no, and grabbed a tiny glass from like just the table. It was empty. It was fine. And poured it in that. And I get to drink it with you. I was like, this is crazy, but awesome at the same time. That was my end of it. That was the whole bonkers, again, just like one thing to another situation.
So,
and you did give me, what did you give me? It's right over here.
If I understand well, you hadn't tried it before. Yeah, that's the bottle I mulled for you. I remember now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A really random one.
Yeah.
All advertising on this. I think I've had Valentine somehow, but it's just Valentine still. It's just in a fancy label for a game I like.
Sure. Yeah. It's not one that you'd be in a hurry to open, right?
No. There'd have to be like another type of Borderlands game for me to even open it, and I don't know if that's going to happen for a very long time, if at all.
I wonder if I need to plug in headphones in order to hear you better. Because if I turn the volume, just let me know if you get an echo from me turning you up a little bit, okay?
I did, but not major. Like if I stay here, I can't hear it. But if I start to enunciate, then I don't hear it. No, I still don't hear it. We're good. I'll let you know if I start hearing voices.
Okay, good.
From you.
Good. I'll plug in headphones if we need to.
Bye, Rob. People have to go.
Good night, Rob.
Like I said, some of them are on your side, and they're just like, hey, why? It's almost midnight.
So what's happening with you, buddy? What's the plans? Are you going to stick around and hit that 1,000? Are you going to keep doing your thing? I think
that's always been the plan.
Twice a week you're going out just now?
Yeah, it's Fridays at 7 p.m. my time, typically, and then Sundays same time. So it'd be midnight for you.
Yes.
Just late. I think.
Thank you for bringing it forward a wee bit tonight in order to let me get to bed at a prudent time.
I used to do it at this time actually, a year or 2 years ago. But it was slow. Like I know and especially on a Friday and Sunday, it was a little better, but it was just a little too slow for the whole thing. So I kicked it up to 7 because I have a interest in sevens. If you didn't know, I was born on July 7th, so I got tagged with that for the rest of my life.
7 of 7, yeah.
7.
We have something in common. I was born 5 of 5, and I do kind of. I maybe I am drawn to the number 5. I don't know, perhaps a wee bit.
I know for me, it's my mother's fault. It's her fault.
Yeah, we blame our mothers for too much, don't we? Yeah. Mama KillCo.
Yes, Mama KillCo and Papa KillCo is here as well. I saw him pop up, zip by. I do remember with this whiskey, you were talking about effervescence, which is something I really hadn't thought about until you're like, get it? And I was like, actually, yeah, I do. I've heard people say it, but it really clicked with this one.
But it is fizzy. It's genuinely a fizzy whiskey. And I think that sometimes fizzy whiskeys are not, it's not always a positive thing to talk about, but for me, it's something I love. Sometimes young grain whiskey can be very fizzy. Grain whiskey is obviously if you're Ballantines there, the majority of that will be filled with grain whiskey. It's much more efficient to produce to a much higher strength and things. And the blends, maybe it goes in there quite young. It's the foundation for most blends, and on top of the grain whiskey, they add their malt to flavor it and bulk it up and things. But grain itself can often be, quite grainy and fizzy and effervescent. Rye whiskies, to me, a lot of ryes can be fizzy too. Less in texture and more in flavor, right? That kind of fizz that comes from spice, absolutely.
But
this is quite unique.
I guess that's what it is. It's a tongue tingle feeling for me with ryes, except it's more stabby than fizzy. And I don't know if that's because of the proof, partially. Either way, it's good.
I mean, we have a thing in the UK called sherbet. I don't know if you have sherbet. It's a powdered candy.
I know of sherbet. I had that when I was a kid.
Okay.
Except it was ice cream for me. It might be different for you. Okay,
yeah. It's powdered candy, and you have often a licorice stick or some kind of other candy that you can wet and dip into the powder, the sherbet, and it coats it, and you lick it off, and then you dip and lick and dip and sherbet. And for me, there's a wee bit of that in here too, along with some ice and sugar and lemon fizz, a wee bit limoncello. I think it's one of these bottles that when the last drop does go, between you and I have a bottle left, one more for myself, and I'm hoarding a couple of bottles here for other people.
Because you should, as you should, just
Yeah.
have them. It's like, no, I don't know what happened to it. I was going to give it to you, but
yeah, I know. I'm thinking they better come and collect them soon because I might just have to tear into them. No, I'm only kidding. If anybody's out there, I'm holding it for you. It's here, it's safe.
It is. I haven't had to do that for people, but I know I'm happy to. I did. I did that for when I went to Psalm 2. There's someone I'd never met. Irene Tan had a bottle that he wanted. He bought it from her store, as we do digitally far away. I went there. I was going to go there anyway. I ended up getting into what I can only call a liquor store owner's like general process, where they have a distributor come in and they're like, we got these here, try them. So I got wrangled into that. There were 2 people like that. Actually, it was 4, but it was the same kind of deal. 2 guys came in. We tried a bunch of stuff. She thought about it, maybe got one. They left. And then another 2 guys came in. We tried some. Then they left. And I had only gone there to pick up the bottle. So that was hilarious. I wasn't even thinking about buying anything for myself. I don't remember if I did. But I definitely got plenty of whiskey again once I went to her store. And I got to mule that bottle over to him for Whiskey Somm Level 2. And it was nice to meet him for the first time with the bottle. I was like, hi, here you go. This is yours.
And so that's Irene Tan's store, right?
Yeah.
Because that I managed to, just out of pure coincidence, we were touring Glen Scotia last year in Campbelltown, and there was a lot of us in the tour. In fact, I believe at this point we were the only ones on the tour. And then this lady turned up late, and I recognized her face straight away, but I just couldn't. The final kind of piece of the puzzle, I just couldn't place exactly where it was. I knew it was in a whiskey context. I felt like it was in YouTube, but I couldn't tell where. And of course, it turned out to be Irene Tan. And we went round the Glen Scotia tour with her there. We bumped into her a wee bit later on, and then we eventually hooked up with her at the Ardshiel Hotel in Campbelltown. And you might remember we sent you a short video.
Yes, you did.
Yeah,
it's hilarious.
Yeah, because obviously 2 of us are
there.
Was
it a video or a picture? I don't remember which it was.
Yeah, it was something we sent.
Funny.
Maybe an image. We sent you something. Just we are just to let you know they had bumped into Irene. It was incredible. Such a small world.
Yeah, it was hilarious. From my understanding, she snuck in. That's what I heard.
Yeah, that's
probably got in there and she's like, "Oh, hi, no, I'm late for the tour."
Yeah. She just joined on. Yeah, and got free drams in the warehouse.
Right.
Mr. Greatshot
She's
is
good
asking.
at that.
Mr. Greatshot's asking me a question there. Will you be attending the Bastards Ball this year?
Oh, you.
The jury is still out. The flights are super expensive this year. I need the pound to be a lot stronger. It's getting stronger than it was. It was terrible a wee while ago, but
it's not great here either. But it's only going to get worse if I don't plan to go there now, which I already have. I have the flight and the room, and I don't remember if I did the car yet. Probably not.
Yeah, all of that I need to work out. I just need to I need to get the headspace. I'm delinquent on a couple of things for Daniel actually, and that's one of them. Yeah, you don't want to be delinquent with Daniel, right?
Oh.
Have you been to Scotland, or do you have?
Yeah, plans? No, I have not been there, and the plan is bucket list. Maybe before I'm 50, maybe when I turn 50. I'd like to get there sooner, but as you were saying, cost of flights, plans, staying places, money. Blah. By the way, I have a Patreon. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. I'd like to go. I have the passport. It's just a matter of funds. It always is for everyone right now.
Yeah, to tell you that you can do it inexpensively would be a fib, because everything costs. Everything's expensive. You know, you can eat cheaply. You can take public transport. You can do everything and do it as cheaply as you can, but it still costs a lot of money. Just save like a maniac, Brian. I know how much you love the liquid, so
I do. It's a lot of other problems. Like I don't talk about it a lot, but I don't have income per se. It's all like SSDI, Social Security Disability, because of this thing and the help of my parents. So anytime I go anywhere and do anything big, it's like my family is like, do it here. Now we're in more debt too. Cool.
Well, what I'd say is that if it's for you, it doesn't pass you. As I say, for everything, I talk about whiskey, I talk about experiences, I talk about people, the people that you meet and things. And you know, there's the important thing is for it not to be a point of anxiety, right? Just you know, if you're building towards something, if you desire it, you know, you can help it along a little bit. But yeah, don't swear it. If it'll happen one day, buddy.
Yeah, like I said, 50th. If I start saving now, I'll be 43 in July.
That's right. That's right. So seven years. I should have
enough money by then, maybe.
That's about right. Yeah. As long as prices don't continue to go up in the meantime and all of those great things. Should I you suggested I prepare a Texas whiskey, since we're talking about Texas, right? And the travel.
Yes.
I'm going to maybe be able to do a wee bit of a bottle kill. Do you remember this bottle, Brian?
Mm-hmm.
The Mirador from Balcones, right? And I remember trying it the second time I came over too, and it was a different version. It was a much more there was a lot of peat in it, and it was the closest thing I've ever tasted to Scotch coming out of the States, certainly coming out of Texas. It was really quite an amazing thing, and I hoped that I would be able to see it or it would come across my path, but it didn't. So I've had to make do with this one. But tonight, it is a wee bottle kill, the last of the Mirador. This is at 59.8%. I don't know what. Yeah, it does tell us the age on this. It does say whiskey on the label, and it's spelled in the correct way.
Without the E?
Without the
E. Correct way.
The correct way, yeah. And but this would be illegal in Europe because the age statement on this is 23 months. So this is less than 2 years old, this Mirador.
It's a no-no.
But the flavor, it's just incredible. It's just the effect that the climate has.
I haven't actually been to Balcones yet. I keep wanting to go there, but I know, if I remember, and I might not, you went to north of Texas. Did you actually go to Balcones first, or was it further north?
No, I only visited Iron Root.
That's right. It's further. It's even farther. And then I think you drove all the way down?
Yeah, it's right at the top. It's Denison, and it was over an hour's flight. And most of the time flying was just over Dallas. Dallas is huge. It's just I had no idea how incredibly huge that city would be. And then when in order to get back south, we drove south. And it's a long drive anyway, but I drove with Scott from Scotch Test Dummies and stopped at pretty much every whiskey store on the way down from Denison to Austin.
This is the funny comment here before I forget. There you go. You just stay in your basement. Your kids will move out by then.
The bad news about that is that in Scottish houses, we don't have basements.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I've converted my attic into so.
There you go. Where else? Saw something else. Oh, there we go. And the peated Balcones is quite tasty, apparently. Mr. Great Shot is Texan, so he lives very close to. He's the one who can go to freaking Fang and Feather whenever he wants.
Oh, so have we met that Mr. Great Shot? Would I know Mr. Great Shot under another name?
Maybe. I don't know if you would. You might know his real name.
Yeah, I don't know. Have we met?
You might have. I mean, you might have met him at the actual basketball.
Richie Z is in. My goodness, Richie, it's so good to see your name and face there, buddy. I hope you're keeping well. I've never met Richie, but I feel like I've met him. He's been around for so long. Yeah.
I have that feeling too.
Andrew Butler. I let Balcones come to me. I've met Jared Hempstead twice in London.
Oh,
that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it, Andrew, when you're a high roller, right? Andrew's been following and been into whiskey for decades. I think he's forgotten more than you and I can ever know, Brian.
Yeah, he sent me some stuff, and I sent him some stuff. Some, what do I want to call it? I called it it wasn't beard oil. What the fuck did I call it?
Let me ask you a question. Yes, I was just about to say, he sent you some aromatherapy, and everything was labeled with a number and a Latin name for a plant or a herb.
His are, yes.
Yes.
I sent him something and tried to emulate or copy it. I did okay, I think, but I think he knew what some of them were off the bat.
He's a very generous man. The community is wonderfully generous, Brian.
It is. It's crazy. Like some of these bottles were given to me. I did like the next video that's coming out when I finish it is a bottle that was donated. Another bottle that was donated. Why am I doing? Oh, there we go. I don't have any Balcones, but I do have a Still Austin, and this is a cask strength version. So this is as close to that one as possible. It's like 59. Yeah.
I need to pick up another bottle of this. And the trouble is that when you hold up things like that, you show me that, and the last time I came over, there was much more whiskeys than the time before that. There was much more whiskeys than the time before that. And we're just talking about Texas. Just the products coming out from Texas. It's incredible. But as I sip this last glass of Mirador, I feel like I need to have another bottle of this. I've loved pouring this for people who love Scotch and tell me that they don't like other styles of whiskey. And then just giving them this. And
you have Mr. Great Shot.
I'm Mark. Mark, I hope that we can, when we meet each other again, there are lots of Marks, right? That I recognize your face and I remember your name. But I'll look out for the hat.
There you go. There you go.
That's nice of Richie to share my channel link to you.
Yeah. Because I have so many subscribers that aren't subscribed to you, as we all know. Uh-oh, look out.
There's always overlap. Jeff is in. Good to see you, buddy. We name drop earlier on. Jeff has made it over the 1,000 subscriber mark. I think Jeff could probably give you positive words of encouragement and to keep going and make it there, buddy. But it's not an easy thing.
My mindset is the reason I started doing any of this was not so anyone at all. None. It was for me. My initial journey into whiskey was just to see if I liked it and record the video. Since I'm not going to take notes, I'm not going to remember. My brain is fuzzy like that. So I made the videos, and eventually I did like 1 year of an advent calendar, whiskey advent calendar, and then I did it the next year, and I had probably bought a bottle or two in between, and then I did it again, and eventually in 2019, after I made that's like 75 videos almost. Just from that, like 3 years, just every day, or almost every day. I know I missed some. I had already. Oh, there's another. Hi, thank you for subscribing. I can't see the name; we're all too tiny right now. But thank you to whomever you are. I will see that later. I lost my train of thought. Oh, so yes, I was making the videos for me, and now 2019, I started to make them officially for people since people were interested. And I just keep doing what I'm doing. It's a little more, aimed at the idea of the thing that's circulating in my head is I'm killing the misconception about whiskey. First of all, the name is KillCo, but it helps to throw that in there. Like I'm killing the stereotype, says the guy with the handlebar mustache and the middle-aged whiteness of me. Killing that stereotype as best I can.
But I think, I think you're. I've always been impressed at your courage because you and I have talked privately before that we appeared on each other's channels, let's say, or we had a wee chat about it, and we got to understand. It was a challenge for me to step behind the camera for the first time, and it's still if I ever do a VPub or if I ever do anything and not have a wee flutter of butterfly nerves beforehand, I think that's me probably at the point of burnout. I thrive on, being excited by it still and wanting to do well at it. And I remember speaking to you about how you felt about it and how it was a challenge for you and things. And I always felt I came away from that interaction with you feeling quite impressed, because it's quite a step for most people. Some people, even the people that are fairly natural and things in front of camera, there's no way it's easy for them. They need to think long and hard.
Oh yeah, like the people who are actors in films and stuff aren't just like, this is easy. No, they got to do a lot of mental prep and headspace type stuff to get to where they want to be, just for themselves and to play whatever character they are.
Yeah. Andrew Butler is, and I saw Gregor having a go at me for. He's now suggesting that the reason he's delinquent for Andrew Butler is because my delinquency is contagious and Gregor's picked it up. Andrew, yes. Listen, those Japanese samples, they will not go to waste, buddy. I remember it was on the back of a Japanese V-pub theme I did, and Mac from Kanpai Planet was on the back of it, because of some of the conversation I think had stimulated Andrew to send some really quite rare and niche Japanese whiskies along for me to try, which is just a super, super generous thought. So what happens there is the samples then take on a bit of a momentum, don't they? And you don't just want to sit on the couch on a Tuesday night knocking them back. You suddenly want to give them some kind of reverence. And then there's so many samples potentially that end up a wee bit like that. So they won't go to waste. They will be suitably consumed and noted. And I'll feed back to you, buddy. Thank you, Andrew.
It was very hard for me not to say Kanpai when you said Kanpai. I've been, weirdly enough, I've been puttering around with, what the hell's the app called? What with the owl? Anyway, I've been trying to learn Japanese a little bit because I'd like to visit Japan someday. And I'd rather have some idea of what everyone's saying and be able to read something, because it's an amazing place. Much older than around here.
That's an interesting comment from Jeff there, because if anybody's ever watched Jeff on video, it's just the idea of being nervous, or it doesn't come across on camera at all.
Yeah. I mean, for me, the idea in the space of it is I am just in my apartment talking to myself, which I do anyway. So it's fine. This is no different.
Absolutely. Finally finished his dram of Ardbeg Ugadal. Good to see you, Ben, from last night in lieu of Ardbeg Day. Yes, last day of Fashil yesterday. Is that an Ugadal?
It is. Oogie, as some might call it. I was going to mention something about, what was it? Oh, I got to meet Sam Brooking, which is this one? No. For Lafroig tasting once. And this is a Cardish that my dad picked up technically. And it's signed. Yep. That's very nice of him.
Is Sam Brooking the US Lafroig guy ambassador, or who's Sam Brooking?
Yes.
Apologies.
Yeah. He's the one who does all the Lafroig tastings. He was here with, this is a while ago. This is probably 3 years ago. Who was the distiller who used to be Lafroig? Very quiet. You talked a year ago.
John Campbell?
John Campbell, yes. I looked it up earlier, totally forgot. But I also got to meet him ages ago with him. And of course, he was in a kilt. Of course he was.
Yeah.
That was nice of him. He was at Irene's store. So anytime there's any kind of interaction like that, it's probably because I went to Irene's store, because he had an epic tasting of so many whiskeys. So
epic
much Scotch.
Tastings. So much Scotch. Terrific.
Yeah, I think I almost got killed on the drive back because of the snow and the ice, and there's like an accident that happened right next to me, kind of thing. I was like, oh, it was winter. The roads are awful.
Yeah.
Yes, another card is I have so many whiskeys next to me. It's insane. Oh, I do want to open one. We did Texas, but I want to try to open this maybe at the end.
What are you going to open?
Andalusia triple distilled. I like to think that with you and me, at least, since you're from Scotland, I'm from America, we all met in Texas, and Andalusia is one of my favorite distilleries. It seems appropriate to open this one. I just killed the other bottle. Not even
okay. In honor of that, I shall. Now this bottle's already open. I didn't think it was, but it's so full.
I'm rude.
I've only had a tiny pour from it, so that I don't really have much of a memory from it. And I think I opened this when I was with Chad and Sarah from its Bourbon night on their stream.
You opened it to look at it, is what we're saying.
No, I opened it because this was the one This was the year, or a couple of years before, 1 year before you made it to Texas for the ball for the first time. There was a gathering. All the YouTube channels got together at Salt Lake Barbecue, and we picked a cask of.
That was way back. That was way back.
Well, you say that. I think it was 2019, and you made it there in 2021.
I did not. 2021 I made it.
You made it in 2021. So that was the very next ball, because there wasn't one in 2020. It was a virtual one.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the very next one you made it to, and we picked this cask, all the YouTubers together. I don't think it was a unanimous thing, it was just the one that was the favorite from everyone. But it's a Harbinger, and it's decent ABV, nearly 67%, 132 proof almost.
Incredible. The best thing to have after 3 hours of streaming. This will be great.
It's either the best thing or the absolute worst thing, right? So I might reach for a wee bit of water, but high proof bourbons for me can often be remarkably kind to the palate and appropriate to sip at high ABV.
Yeah, I've had.
There's
a few.
Lots of cinnamon and heat.
I have a feeling Ireland was just going to be a punch in the face with the proof, but not in a bad way. It'll just be like, oh yeah, that's so good.
Yeah, this is potent. This is making me think. It's very cinnamon forward. Cinnamon heat, cinnamon spice. Lots of.
I will tell you.
Red cola and oak.
On my end, I will tell you for next time you're around, the Still Austin regular release, the musician, the cask strength version might as well be a different whiskey entirely. It's crazy. It's a great shot. Calm down. Good God. We'll set it on fire.
Well, I've clicked the like on this video. I am number 27. Woot. Don't know how many we've got 32 in.
I forgot to do it. It was at 40 at one point. I was just like, hi, everyone.
Yeah. I've missed the peak for us to get the likes in, but it's always good to have the like button. I always forget. I never remember to ask people to click like button. I'm always kind of
I need to automate this thing, and I still haven't after like a year, but it just goes boop, and then I push it again, and it goes away. Then I don't have to say it. I just click the button, and it shows up, and hopefully people do it.
Is this all using Stream Deck or something, or?
This is OBS, so it's like a free streaming thing, and I've had to set
So
up.
you use a hybrid of OBS and StreamYard. That's clever. Nice.
Well, OBS, I use like the virtual camera option, and then I just put that into StreamYard.
Yeah,
it works pretty well. It's tricky as hell. It's complicated. I don't like it.
Yeah, there's lots and lots.
Figured it out, and it works.
Yeah, there's lots of points of potential failure in OBS.
Yes, there is, but so far so good. It hasn't failed me now. But it is tricky to figure out. That's the real problem for me. I think at the start, it was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Now it's a little simpler, at least. Especially when I figured out I can use this through StreamYard, because StreamYard is great, but I need more. Like the subscriber thing, I love that. I love seeing like Stitch come out and say hi, because that means someone subscribed.
Yeah,
that was interesting to try to set up. I remember that.
Yeah, you've got to make it fun.
Mm-hmm. It helps me pay attention. That's what it really does.
Yeah,
it gives me something to focus on. Thank you, Richie Z. There you go. He knows. Now tell your friends. We're getting there. I mean, we already hit a spike tonight. This is more than enough for me for a while. It's just like, hi, as long as I know it's here.
Do you manage many meetups in the Northeast? I mean, you're in Massachusetts, right?
Rhode Island, close enough.
Rhode Island. Sorry, yes.
I'm literally on the border of Rhode Island, Massachusetts. So.
Okay. So there's a few. I mean, Jimmy Jazz was in tonight.
Yeah, we did a tasting at his house a while ago.
And I feel like, is he Northeast, Tom?
Zenbridge,
yeah.
Yes.
He's local. Yes.
Yeah, he's in Massachusetts too.
Yeah, Jimmy was in tonight
numerous times.
Fantastic.
We usually do two things. It's either a meetup at Irene's, which is really the easiest and best, because it's like, go to Irene's. She has lots of whiskey. Try all the whiskey. Drive safe. Have some food before you leave. that kind of thing.
Wow.
And then the other one are some whiskey pubs I've been able to find that actually are, I don't want to say up to my standards, but they have to have a significant amount of whiskey and be very, like, they're pushing into the fact that they have a bunch of whiskey. It's one of their things. And there's only about 2 or 3 different places around where I'm at, and maybe a couple in Massachusetts. I haven't really looked too far in Massachusetts. But there's plenty of places to meet up. It's just a matter of which costs the least, and that's always going to be Irene's, technically. Because you can go there and try a bunch of her whiskeys for nothing. However, if you do that, you will spend quite a bit of money to get the bottles when you leave. So that's, it's like you can bring it home with you, or you can just try a bunch at the bar situation. But so far, so good. I've been trying to do a little higher up kind of meetup that costs something. So,
yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny. I think I'm grateful for we've got, not for everyone. There are lots of people here that live in rural areas, of course, but for the most part, we have pretty robust public transport, when it works.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Because the tolerance for alcohol when you're driving in Scotland is virtually zero.
I have heard that.
Like, it is so low. It is so low that you just wouldn't risk driving, and it's obviously risk for being caught, but obviously risk for potential accident or whatever. We just, it's become taboo now to drink and drive, and arguably rightly so. It's so. In fact, sometimes if I'm going to drive in the morning, like tonight, I know I'm going to be driving in the morning. I'm going to make sure that all the pores are tiny, and the pace is very, very slow. Hopefully, as I tuck myself up in bed tonight, I'm going to be past the point of even feeling the effect of whiskey. It's just
drink plenty of water.
So anybody traveling here, don't think that you can go along to a tour, and sip a few and then drive home. You would need to make sure you've got alternative arrangements for transport.
Yeah, it's different in, I've never been to Scotland, but I understand it as you want to get on one of those tour groups that goes to different places and you're being driven around, because that's completely safe. There's no worry on your end other than, don't get annihilated. Where here, it always feels a little weird to do that because you're restricted. I'm thinking specifically of when I've gone to Kentucky. The idea of going on one of those tours is nice, but also not a super social person around people I don't know. Maybe that could change with enough whiskey, but it doesn't feel quite the same. I want to be able to go where I want to go. If I'm in Kentucky, I don't want to have to be stuck on someone else's trip, and you're only there for this long kind of situations.
Understand? Yeah. Well, what I would say if you ever do the Scotland thing, then, is that if you try to get accommodation near the distilleries you're interested in. Andrew's had a designated driver twice. The last 2 trips to Islay, maybe the last 3 or 4 thinking about it now, trips to Islay. There was a couple last year I was mostly the designated driver for. And I've been over this year, I was a designated driver for that as well. And I don't mind, because a lot of the people I'm taking is maybe their first time. But for me, it's kind of my 10th or 12th time or whatever. It's not
weekend getaway.
Right. I would prefer not to drive, but it means so much to me for them to have a good time. I want them to relax and really enjoy what I relaxed when I wasn't driving. So if that means me driving, I'm quite happy to do that. I can vicariously have fun through them. So
yeah, it's always nice to be the one who's making sure everyone's safe, getting from point A to point B, or getting home back to the wherever they're staying.
Yeah, at least until the evening, and then you can kick back, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is. Yeah, that's my dad and my mom for a while. My mother doesn't drink at all, so when my dad was drinking, he can't do that right now due to his cancer treatment. But
yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, and it was always nice to have my mom driving us around if we needed to. She did that for me in Texas in 2019 when I did go, but that was after all the Bastards Ball stuff had happened.
No, 2021.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
No, 2019. I did go to Texas in 2019, except it was after the Bastards Ball.
Ah, okay. Yes.
And then, like I said, my mother drove me around to a bunch of different distilleries. And those are pretty much the ones I go to almost every time. It's usually still Austin and Andalusia are absolutes, and then maybe a few others if I have the time or if I want to. I know the last time I went to Milam and Green and actually picked something up this time. They blossomed before. It seemed like a very tiny place, and then I come back 2 years later, and it's got like outdoor seating and very nice interior. People know
And
what
that's
they're talking about.
The green in that is heather green, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was nice to get to try some of her stuff. She might be up in the area, I think. She said there was a Twitter conversation. You know how those are. But she has, I think she's definitely talked to Irene, and I believe she's done a pick there, but I'm never certain. She goes to Texas fairly frequently because she's picking barrels left and right of everything.
This is excellent. This Harbinger cask strength for.
I'm jealous. I don't have any iron root. I should. I love iron root.
Yeah, I know that. You don't call it cask strength. You call it, a barrel proof. But
yeah, I'll call it cask strength. I always do. But they do have some that's a barrel proof instead.
But it's so rich, so rich. I've got an older one. I've got the Harbinger XC, which is their 45% version, which has been around for a long time. I don't get through it quite as much. Is that a cask strength? Yeah,
that's cask strength.
Bourbon whiskey, yeah.
Yeah, and this is the Still Austin. That's
Still Austin.
Really yeah. That's their higher one. That's the one that's nearly 60, while their regular release is almost 50. It's wild.
Wow.
They just start out at higher proof.
Yeah.
I haven't opened this yet. Let me pour a little of this one. Think about it. This is the one I think of, not so much for Scotland. That's the one thing where it kind of deviates, but it's just one of those American malt whiskeys now. It's in the Irish style, triple distilled thing in Texas. I think that's wild. Like just that all kind of clicking.
So that Andalusia's triple distilled.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that was a fun noise. And it almost tastes like Irish whiskey. It's nuts. And you've talked to Ty, I believe. I think. Have you been to Andalusia? I'm not even certain of that.
No. I mean, anytime there's been a distillery trip, I tend to get in late, so I arrive a bit too late for it. And last time I could have made it.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, you're on your way back, and because of what we were saying earlier, that long ass trip from point A to point B.
From Denison, I did a live stream from Iron Root on the Thursday night.
Yeah,
Thursday afternoon.
Then you came down. And a bunch of us did meet there, but I knew you couldn't make it because of that trip. Like I remember hearing about it, and how far you had to drive. I'm like, why did he do that to himself? That's insane.
Yeah. No, it was fun. It was great fun, and I would do it again in a heartbeat.
You had a very good driver. I mean, you had the guy who's dealing with like the SMWS stuff. He's probably got a whole bunch of bottles in the back of his truck. It's like, hey, we'll be fine.
Yeah, we weren't allowed to touch it though. That was for the people at the
that was for the ball,
event, right? So no,
my memory of him is. No, go ahead.
Scott was driving. Scott from the Scotch Test Dummies, and he's obviously SMWS North America too. Yeah, he drove us all the way down. That was great fun. But on the night before we drove down, obviously we had Jonathan and Robert from Iron Root, and we had Josh Golladay there. Fantastic hosts, wonderful stuff. The whole team were there, but we also had Liquor Hound. Chris was there, and he brought along some of his treasures to share, and it was just amber nectar. Some of the things that Chris was able to bring along were legendary to the point that these are things I've only ever seen pictures of, and I was able to hold these bottles in my hand and more than that, taste them. Incredible whiskeys. Just the generosity, the sharing, the excitement, and Chris to have them enjoyed as well and see other people enjoy them. It was surreal. It was dreamlike. It was so good.
One of those fun situations. I did get to try at the ball. One of my, I don't want to call it a vivid memory, but it was one that stuck out of all the stuff that was happening. Was at the end when they were doing the closing of the Bastards Ball. I was standing next to him because I hadn't really hit many of the places. I was like the new YouTube channel guy, and people will recognize me, and I'm dashed around trying to meet everyone and talk and do stuff and stay cool. Good God. But at the end, I was standing right next to him, and he had one of those bottles like underneath the table kind of thing. and he poured some of that for me. And I was like, oh, this is freaking delicious. Why can't I have these for myself?
Yeah.
So good. So that was nice. That was a nice little whiskey moment with him, even though I don't know him that well. He didn't have to do that, you know.
It's better to have tried and not owned than owned and not tried, right?
That's why I encourage people to go to whiskey bars if you can. And if there's anything you see up there, like, oh, I wanted to try that. Maybe not anything, but some within price reason, because the prices can be steep. But it's better, like I said, like you said, to try it before you buy it rather than just drop the cash and then realize you didn't like it.
Well, no, I think, similar. Yeah, similar. The point I was making was it's better to have tried and not owned than owned and not tried, in my mind, right?
Yeah. I figure if I bother him enough, he'll just send me something. Like, come on, please. I know we've met. I have a channel. Please give me something. I can get into the vault. So that's the one thing I think I have for myself anyway. It's I can go, when I'm in Texas, I can just go in there. Which is one of the fun and again wild situations. Like I started watching Whiskey Vault where these two guys are just putzing around in this vault, and then a few years later, I have done these classes to get this medallion thing that he had, and go in there and I can just putt around and try whatever I want. It's nuts.
Well, it's that sense of belonging, right? It's the sense of belonging, and also the sense of the journey to get there, that it's not just they don't give it out in exchange for money. You have to actually learn something along the way. And you have to come out of that situation with the ability to contribute something back, to give something back to whiskey too.
Try.
Try. Yeah.
I did get the other kind of, again, serendipity and wildness and just the whole whiskey life, because I got into the, Wizard Academy stuff, whiskey sommelier, whatever you want to call it. Irene Tan's doing tastings. Specifically, the one I participated in is the Roger Williams Zoo, which is the zoo in Rhode Island, and she does this whiskey event. What the heck is it called? I don't remember, but it happened a little while ago, and it's been nice to put the medallion on, be the guy who supposedly knows a little more about whiskey, and pour whiskey for folks who are generous enough to donate to the zoo to keep it going. Or in this case, I think it was to build a animal shelter for a specific cat. I forget what kind of, it was like an African animal. Someone here knows the name, but they just got one and they were getting some shelter for it. So that was cool. Yeah, they raised a lot of money for that. It was a little wild, but it was nice to be able to do that.
The people that I've been able to meet through whiskey is insane. It's incredible. KillCo looked really at home in his stream from the vault. Yeah,
I did. I had to do a little stream from the vault, and it was wild. I still don't feel like I should be there, but it's slowly fizzling out. I think the real thing that did it. Oh, there it is. Thank you, Zen. The serval cat is what they were getting a shelter for. A big serval, long-legged animal. But oh god, what was the saying? Vault. Oh, I got to be in there by myself. That was where it really set. Like every single time I'd been in the vault, it seemed to be with a lot of people, or I was pouring whiskey for folks, or it was because I was doing somm stuff as a class. And then on the last trip, since I love to do like an extended stay on campus, so you're just there, like you can get up, walk to Fang and Feather kind of situation.
Yes. Yeah,
being just there on the property, you've seen it. It's a beautiful place. Yep. Getting to just stay there. Oh, it's so good. It's a nice little retreat for someone like me who doesn't, he needs a solitude of sorts. Sure. So that's epic. And then, of course, just being able to go up the hill, get into the vault, and especially this last time where it was too hot. I was outside. I'm like, nope, not dealing with this. And it's either in my room or the vault has air conditioning. I ended up spending like an hour or two puttering around in the vault, trying different things that I had a list for. That's another thing, having a list of whiskeys to try in there. It's been wild. So I'm trying to look at my phone and make sure it's charging.
Yeah, how many whiskeys do they have in the vault? Do you know?
I do not. And even if I think you asked Daniel that, he might have a hard time answering. It's thousands by now, at least. I don't think they've hit more than, a few thousand. It's bonkers. And again, a lot of people think it's a much bigger space than it is when they are looking at it via camera.
Yeah,
even
that's
on my
right.
stream. Even on my stream, people saw me walking away and like, it's so big. I'm like, well, it's a little bigger than my apartment, really.
Yeah.
It can be. Alas, it's still, I like going there when I go there. I usually go in autumn or early spring, like when I did for the Psalm 2 class. That was okay. But, there was a day or two where it's just like, so this is what it's supposed to be like in Texas. All right, I got to go inside. I am not, as you can tell, I mean, we both probably don't do well in the sun for very long.
Yeah, we have to tan pale blue. We have to tan pink first, right?
Yeah, there is no tanning initially. It's just burning, and then it just kind of fizzles into a darker color. And I have somebody got freckles. That's all you see are freckles.
Yeah.
Especially when
we've had amazing sunshine here for a couple of weeks now. It's very atypical. It's not normal, but we
got rain.
Yeah, we were outside tonight, and it's burning hot. I'm suddenly thinking, just to do the simplest of tasks outside, maybe I need to get some sun cream on.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, like driving around is my scary bit right now. When I'm going out, I want to go for a drive because it's a beautiful day. I want to enjoy it a little bit, but then I'm driving around for maybe 15 minutes with my arm on the window. I'm thinking, I'm starting to sizzle, aren't I? That thought of like I need to put something on before I start to get too into like 30 minutes tops. Is probably when it starts, but just like I can't.
Jimmy Leggett's saying, I can tell that you've seen some sunrise looking good. Well, I can tell you it's either sun or it's 132 proof Harbinger from Iron Root. It's one of the two.
That'll do it. Like I feel great. This is nice.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go, Mr. Great Shot. Oh, it's 91 yesterday. Well, that's nice and cool.
I don't even know what those numbers mean. 91's warm, right?
30-ish Celsius, probably a little more than that. So if you can translate it that way, 30 or 30 plus.
Well, we've
around there.
Absolutely not. We're in the early 20s.
Which is
comfortable.
Because of my thought that I'll visit different countries someday, which who knows. I started to figure out. I put my phone and a few other things to Celsius just so I can translate it in my head. Which is which, and I do know I prefer about between like 10 to 15 or a little bit more than that Celsius. I don't like hot.
Yeah,
I'm good with cool.
Late teens for me. Late teens are good. If it hits 20 or early 20s, I'm happy. But it's all about what you're wearing. I mean, we go to Spain in the summer and it can easily be in the 40s there, but you're kind of prepped for it and you stay out of the sun in the middle of the day, you hide in the afternoons and you appear in the evenings and things. You just learn to work with it a little bit. But if you had to live and work and, do chores and things and that kind of heat and environment, I just don't, you see people working in it and I have to just be impressed. It's amazing. 42 degrees in the Philippines. Wow. Wow.
Oh, yes. Got it. We're doing great. We're talking about the weather. It's cool.
Yeah.
We all experience weather, though. That's the reason it's such an easy topic.
Yeah. A whiskey broadcast, and we're sitting here talking about Fahrenheit and Celsius.
I will talk about whatever. It's a Whiskey Musings channel. I don't say it has to be specifically whiskey. I mean, I talk about my own mental health, other people's mental health, whatever's going on with everyone in this chat. I want to make sure everyone's safe and having fun, engaging in the way. That's always a good thing. Keeping people pleasantly entertained. Knowing that we're all sharing the whiskey and the experience together is all I'm good for.
Absolutely. Looking out for each other, buddy. Just making sure that it's a pleasant space, a safe space for everyone.
Yeah, it really, I know, I don't remember if I said this, but I know it helped a lot when we had our private conversation it was probably 2020-ish. I don't remember exactly when it was.
Yes, I think it was.
I was having a hard time. I was having a really hard time in 2020 for numerous reasons other than pandemic, among other things. I lost a pet, and then pandemic happened, and things were just not great. Financially, they got a little better because of the pandemic, but not by much. So it really helped. I remember I got a shirt from you. I didn't wear it this time because of it's all wrinkly, and there was a fire in my apartment a couple weeks ago now. So the laundry room is off limits for the moment because that's where it started. So
okay.
laundry.
Yeah, I remember our chat. 2020 sounds about right.
Yeah, so that was good. That helped. I'm glad it helped you too. I was unaware of that. I was just talking about like how you mentioned on your private Patreon thing how imposter syndrome can be a thing, and it's like, well, I'm just doing this because it's something I like doing, but also a lot of people want to meet you, and they love what you talk about, what you're doing. They're so happy they found your channel, that kind of thing. It's like, thanks. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just, again, stumbling forward and catching myself every time. But it works. I'm glad people are here. Getting more subscribers is always awesome. Even though you're like, I need to do more now. Hold on.
Yeah, but that it has to be a positive thing, and that's you have to not feel. You have to trust yourself and just keep doing what you're doing, and know that you don't have to suddenly, swell up and be something and fit some other shape space. It's just keep doing the same thing. You might get a little better at it. You might lose your way sometimes, but the community's pretty good at acting like a bit of a buffer and mentioning when they praise when they enjoy, and they can often correct you when you go off kilter a little bit. I've found.
Not allowed. I know exactly what I'm doing. I don't want any feedback. Get away from me.
That's right. Yeah, and it's sometimes the most kind of vocal people, and they have to be quite brave to give some negative feedback, right? So you have to, when you get negative feedback, you have to measure: is it valid? Is it real? Is it just? And if it's someone that you trust, if it's someone that you know and recognize, or if it's meant with the right intent, there's often a lot of attention that you have to pay to the negative side. But it's whiskey. It's a wonderful space.
Good. I'm there. Negative, great.
1 or 2% of it is, maybe even less than that, is negative, and for the most part is positive. And the more positivity we encourage, the more positivity exists. That's what we hope, and it's incumbent upon us all to keep the community positive, I think. That's what whiskey does for us. When it gets us together, we can enjoy each other for people rather than all the things the far too many things that divide us, right?
Yeah, like entire oceans usually, or just states. In my case, there's always people,
or religion, or politics,
or politics,
or how we eat, how we vote, how we.
Yeah, there's always a reason for us to not like each other. It's great.
That's right.
A lovely world.
Exactly right. Exactly that. And it's just be a wee bit patient, and a wee bit understanding, a wee bit interested. Whiskey's very good at helping us slow down, don't you think? Just take a breath.
I always talk about it in the sense that like alcohol problems. I was not completely abusing alcohol, but to the point where it was self-medication for the longest time, at least 10 to 15 years at least, where me just drinking to deal with the fact that I had these issues in my head that I couldn't quite understand what the heck was wrong. It took a while, but then I bumped into whiskey, just happenstance. My dad recording a book about whiskey, and then us both getting curious about whiskey. It was a Fred Minnick book, weirdly enough.
Yeah.
And it just kind of kept going from there. And I realized, like you said, it helped me slow down and stop and appreciate what I was drinking rather than it just being some beer I was knocking back 2 or 3 of them or more every night. And it helped me pause, it helped me stop, it helped me realize that something can be enjoyed in a safe manner rather than misuse. It's the nicest word I can use.
Yes.
And it's like you said, it brings people together in a more positive light rather than chugging beers with the boys. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, so much of the focus is on the drink, certainly in the first instance. And when you're sipping something at 131.86 proof, like I am right now, there's no way you can abuse that. You have to.
You'll hurt yourself real fast.
You have to slow down. If you try and abuse it, you'll maybe try it once, but you have to slow down because every single sip is just shouting at you and asking for your attention. It is really, and then it's a natural progression to get interested in how it's made and what are all these flavors I'm tasting? What are all these crazy things, to try and tie them down and try and articulate it, to try and explain it. And that's much easier and much more fun to do when you can do it with other people, whether it's what you and I do virtually over these sessions or whether it's in real life.
We're living the future. I can talk to someone on the other side of the ocean.
Yeah, but isn't it amazing right now?
Oh God, yes. We're basically Star Trek right now. It's weird. I mean, you just have to be in outer space and it would be a whole different thing.
Yeah, but it is the distance, and there is, I mean, the delay is milliseconds to the point that we don't even know.
I'm not getting it. So yeah, it's that long where it's like, what?
You could be in the next room, right? It's just incredible. But I am genuinely sitting in a spare room or a whiskey room, a spare room in a house in Glasgow, and you're sitting in Rhode Island. It's just, I never tire of being grateful for it all.
It's wild. And especially when we somehow meet, like we've talked about like earlier, it's just the how we all somehow came together as a community and met each other through what was just happening and what we were all trying to just like, oh, here we are. What's happening? Oh, I know you. Hey, how you? It's nice that we meet in the real life in person. I've had the same thing happen with Chad and Sarah. I've been fortunate enough to talk to them and meet them in person. And a number of other channels from the Bastards Ball, of course.
Well, and I think that what's wonderful is when you meet these people in real life, they end up being just as lovely as they seem.
Yeah, so far.
I mean, Whiskey with Molly Ben, he's saying the community's amazing, nothing like it on the planet. I was with Ben in my local pub. It's nuts. I'm on a stream. It's a guy in Rhode Island, and the guy who's commenting, I met him, and we shared a couple of drams together with loads of other whiskey folk in the pub on Friday night. It's just amazing.
I don't know Friday night. Friday night's the night where I go, ah!
Donner Pass Whiskey was in Glasgow last year. And we got to meet up. It's brilliant. It's so good.
It is. I still don't know how it's all happened. I don't understand. But I'm enjoying it so far. And I keep doing it. Like even before your Patreon stream went live, I was trying to edit a video, which is not easy. I lack focus. That's my problem.
Yeah, I do.
I do get it, but it's only on like Tuesday night when the video has to go out Wednesday morning. That's when I'm going to do it. Not good. I'm trying to stop.
Not good. But if you do lack focus, sometimes it needs that kind of that layer of maybe, I don't know, urgency to generate the focus.
There we go. That's an ADD/ADHD thing. Like I'm not medicated for that yet because of the just god awful process that goes along with it, because the drugs they usually give you are a little wonky. So I have to go through that in September, even though I've done it before, and I know that's the problem. I haven't been officially diagnosed, but I'm pretty sure I know that's what it is.
There's a good question from Whiskey with Molly.
I don't know. I might be. Well, I don't know because I got into the whiskey scene through a book, an audiobook. By the way, if you want to get that audiobook, it's on Amazon or Audible. What is it? How whiskey saved the whiskey. Women with whiskey. Women and whiskey. Women something. I think the link's down below.
I've got Fred Minnick's Women and Whiskey book.
That's it. Yeah. I think.
Is that it? Well, I don't have the audio.
How women saved the Scotch, Bourbon, Irish. It's mostly based on American. I mean, it's Fred Minnick. He's mostly bourbon. Yeah, that's it.
Whiskey,
I can tell by the cover.
The Untold Story of How Women Saved Bourbon, Scotch, and Irish Whiskey by Fred Minnick. Yeah.
Yes. My dad did the audiobook for that. That's how it started.
Wow.
Right? Wild.
Yeah, I've just flicked past. I caught a picture of Bessie Williamson there at Lefroy, the famous image of her at Lefroy. Mm-hmm. I haven't read this yet. I started to read this as I picked it up there. Whatever page I was at, this was falling out of. But it's been so long that I would need to start again anyway. My backlog of reading is significant now.
You probably read a lot more than I do.
That's crazy. So your dad did the audiobook for this?
Yeah, on Audible.
And that's
at
what
least other places.
That was your springboard for whiskey.
Yep, he did the audiobook. I didn't know anything about it. I had to listen to it. I was like the audio engineer to make sure there weren't any issues. And then he heard about something called Lafroig and got curious. And then we had to look for it. Eventually we found it. He tried it, absolutely loved it. I tried it, didn't hate it. It made me go, what the heck is this? How is this even possible to drink like this? How is this a thing? And it just stumbled forward. I found the Whiskey Vault channel. And that's where I say to this question, would you still be as much into whiskey if the community didn't exist? Because it was really the Whiskey Vault that made it click. The initial curiosity was the book. But when I found the Whiskey Vault and Rex and Daniel just being who they are and making it less, killing the stereotypes, so to speak, of it having to be,
just
your father's drink.
Making an inclusive space for you, right?
Yeah, it was interesting enough. They're entertaining enough, amusing enough, and enough education for me to keep up at it. I remember I watched every single video until when they went at that time when they were up to date, and I just kept going. I've watched pretty much everyone ever since, just because now it's like homework almost. I should watch them because I can go and try one of those whiskeys later and I jot it down. Like, oh, that sounds pretty good.
And it's always amazing. They're under the same pressure as all of us, trying to come up with new ideas and content. But when they're putting out so much of it, they're putting out a Whiskey Vault video every day, and then a Whiskey Tribe.
They changed it. It's now Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday are the releases for the Vault, and then Saturday is Whiskey Tribe. So that's the one where it's more like in the hands of Rex and more fun, more clickbait-ish sometimes.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's all good, earnest, fantastic.
It's helping them out. Whatever they're doing, I want to keep them, make sure they keep at it, because it's all funny, it's all good, it's in good humor, it's entertaining.
For me, answering Ben's question is easy, very easy, and that is, if it wasn't for the community, I doubt very much that I would be into his whiskey as much as I am.
Mm-hmm.
There would be no reason for me to exist doing what I do if it wasn't for the community, and if it wasn't for all the opportunities that it's given me, all the fantastic friendships, all the genuine relationships with really cool people, a living, honestly, a job, a living, a career now.
Right. I'm working there. I'm almost there. I'm getting there. But you definitely have your hands full.
Yeah, but it also gives you the inspiration to build things like Dramface and the online Scotch Whiskey Awards and all of these things, because the more people that you speak to, the more you realize how the passion doesn't just run in your veins. Everybody's really passionate. Everybody genuinely loves this stuff. And it becomes existentially important for us to try and intervene in a way that we hope is positive. And I think that's the big thing. Whatever you do, Brian, whatever you're doing, I think if you can look at whiskey in a very general sense and then somehow measure what you're doing and see that for all the mistakes that you make, or for all the net result is a positive contribution towards whiskey and its future, then continue. You're doing the right thing, If you're doing something,
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying that if you're doing something positive, even if it's your living, if it's your job, if you're doing something positive in order to make a living from whiskey, then measure it that way.
Yes. Early on, I remember the whole concept of doing a job you hate as a living, or doing something you don't like, it's just a job. Yeah, that never clicked, and I never liked it, and it didn't make sense to do it with my whole life, because my life is this and that's it. I want to do something I at least enjoy and that's engaging and that makes other people feel better. Like this for you specifically down here. How's Zen got to whiskey as a starter?
Well, I've spent decades doing jobs that I didn't always love.
Yeah, I didn't. I did them, and I usually got laid off or fired or quit or something, because it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to keep me engaged, and I had all these mental problems that were not diagnosed. I kept wondering why I couldn't do everything the way other people were. That was it. But I like this one. Zen is again local to me. I would have never met him if it weren't for whiskey, and you were part of that. How dare you?
Yeah,
your pronunciation video. It's very popular. I hope it certainly helped me along.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you for that.
I do mispronounce them on purpose sometimes because it's funny.
Oh, you should not. If you know better, you should not.
Well, I can't say it's like Kilholman, but I have to say Kilchoman, and I don't know why. I just have to say it that way. But I do know how to say it properly. At least I try to, at the very least.
Kilchoman.
Kilchoman. That's why I have to say Kilchoman angrily for some reason. There you go. Yeah, you're very informative. I hope people like this silliness. And again,
well, I mean, the most important thing is that everybody brings their own thing to it. We can't all be each other. It'd be pretty dull.
No, I do not have a whiskey vault, but I have enough.
That's amazing. Found Roy Scotch recycled parody video. Not long after Found Roy arranged behind the scenes at a day-long Whiskey Tube World Whiskey Day, and that was it. I remember that. That was, my goodness, is that going back? That could go back to 2017 or 2018. That event where all the channels got together and we just kind of agreed a slot and we passed the baton down and see how many people could make it through the whole day.
That was
I don't know if we quite made 24 hours, but it certainly went for quite a long time. Yeah.
Doing what we can. I consider it, for me, it's my socializing. That's it.
You're a nice man, Ben. Thank you very, very much.
Mike Franklin. Tell me, we'll talk. Get in touch with me on Patreon because I've started playing and my life is over now. Game stuff. There's a new game that we're playing now. It's ridiculous. It is going to be so damn distracting.
If I was to get back into gaming, my goodness, that would be, I would have to clone myself.
Yep, and you'd probably have to update your graphic card every 2 years.
Lavagulin.
Lagavulin? Lagavulin?
Lavagulin, he's saying. My favorite mispronunciation is Lavagulin.
I was like, what? That's not how you say it, Roy.
My favorite mispronunciation is the man who went into Good Spirits Company in Glasgow and asked Roddy for the new Japanese whiskey, Okentoshan. Instead of Okentoshan. Okentoshan. It's so good. So fun.
Oh, God, I have to. Since we're talking about Scotch, I have another pour I need to have. Which would be...
Well, I tell you what I'm going to do, buddy. I'm going to finish my wee glass of Loch Lomond.
You're ridiculous. Oh, there you go. You're on to the other one. Good.
Have you finished your Loch Lomond, have you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well,
I'll pour more. I can.
Well, only a quarter teaspoon because I'm going to finish this and then lock up the house, I think, for my dad duties in the morning.
Right.
I was told tonight. She said, "Oh, my wife said, you're doing you're a taxi driver.
You're up."
It's not for school. My son's got something else on a little bit later in the morning. He's not going to school, but still, it's me that's on duty. What's that you poured?
I just poured your Loch Lomond.
Oh, you've sacrificed a little more.
Just a little, like you said, just a tip.
Well, let's raise a glass to all that we've discovered in this community and beyond, and all that we've yet to discover. What do you say?
Absolutely. There's so much more that's going to happen, I hope. Cheers to that. That's still amazing. It's still beautiful. Really good, even after the couple I've had.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sparkles. I like that. I get so much. God damn. That's why I was kind of thrown back by the Loch Lomond officially, like their 12 year. Very different. But still good.
It's good to hear that you're enjoying it.
Yeah, the nose threw me off. It's very malty, I think. But the palate is much more to my preference. So it's just a weird nose, and then the taste is like, oh, this is really good.
Loch Lomond is a little bit unique. It can be a bit marmitey for some people. Certainly a little bit of investment to understand it. I've come to really love it.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, I'm curious what else there is now because of your bottle, and also their 12 year is actually really good. and I recommend it, especially if you can find it for the price.
Well, I think what you need to look for next time is the green labeled 12-year-old Loch Lomond Inchmurrin. The Inchmurrin is made on the straight neck pot stills, and which is the same as my bottle that you're enjoying. So it tends to make the thing a little bit lighter and fruitier. Is a very broad brush statement to make, but there you go.
You like that. That's why I lean into space sides typically.
Whiskey
I have
with
many
Molly,
different things.
Asking challenging questions beyond midnight. I mean, he's traveling tomorrow, so hopefully he's traveling late, but
oof,
he's able to stay up late. He's off to the Philippines. So Ben, I'll answer that. That's very, very easy. The cost of it. It's too much now. Whiskey was being undersold when bourbon was not fashionable, when Scotch was not fashionable, Irish, Japanese. None of these whiskies were. Brown spirits were not fashionable. It was being undersold. That correction has been surpassed long ago.
Yeah.
And now it's trading on brands and word of mouth from the past. And it's now gone out of the reach of all of the people that they need to keep talking about it in order for it to endure. So I would certainly change the price. Whiskey is not a luxury item. It should not be a luxury item in the sense it's been cultivated today. It is a luxury product. We don't need it to survive. It is always a luxury, but it should be in balance, and it's out of balance right now.
Should be able to drink it.
Listen, there's no, for it to be something that you collect, for it to be an asset, or for something that people to invest in, you know, that by definition, it's a drink. And if you drink it, then the investment can't exist. So it's at odds with itself. Whiskey exists purely not for any nutritional benefit. There's no vitamins or proteins, or there's nothing that you can take for sustenance, right? Yeah.
I was on a diet of whiskey. What's happening?
The only reason you drink this is for it to just connect with all of our primary senses and for us to understand what it is to be alive. That's what whiskey is about. And the more that we understand it, the more we taste it, talk about it, share it, the more we realize just how much of a gift it is. And right now, there are some people out there, dare I say, bad actors who are not treating it as such. And it's frustrating. Sorry for the rant, the whiskey.
No, that's a good. I was thinking while you were talking that it is an investment as long as you're investing it in others. Otherwise, what are you doing? Why would you buy it and just have it sit there? That's not the. I feel like the person who made it didn't think that was the thing.
And these people that are buying them for collections and investment and things like that, the drinkers are doing them all a favor by making the bottles that they have even less or even more rare and even less.
Basically.
Oh, yeah.
The price went up on your bottle because I drank mine. All right.
Yeah.
Enjoy keeping that there as it collects dust.
Yeah.
Like Whiskey Molly asked the questions. Why is it there's, in my opinion, a lot of bourbon drinkers that don't like Scotch? I guess, I mean, it is personal preference. That's what whiskey just is. I tell people who I'm dealing with who, you know, they're asking me questions about whiskey and, you know, what notes they should get. I'm like, look, this is a personal experience. It is whatever your life, whatever's happened in your life has brought you to what you're going to get in that whiskey. So I might get pineapple, and I might remember, you know, when I was in Hawaii, it hasn't happened ever. But that kind of scenario where something pops into your head just from nosing this, that's because memory and sense of smell are pretty close together as far as I understand it. But with bourbon especially, it's just the sweetness of it is what they're going for. And if they go into some Scotch, it's usually they accidentally show up with the peated stuff, and that's where people go, I don't want Scotch.
Well, the cheeky answer to that, I think, is that, you know, bourbon drinkers, they're very kind of, you know, you could say that they're very set in their lane. They've got a very specific flavor profile, and any departure from that lane is difficult for them, and they're maybe not going to want it. They're just always going to want to stay in bourbon. Whereas Scotch
the price,
drinkers, because
the price also.
Well, price, yeah, domestically certainly the price. It's flipped over here. I mean, bourbon can be expensive here, but if you look at a Scotch or a Irish whiskey, even, or you know, various cereals or various, you know, where the flavor portfolio on offer is much wider, then you could say that a Scotch palate or a world whiskey loving palate is much more adaptable to enjoying bourbon too. Whereas maybe bourbon palates are much more specialized. But I would also suggest that I could upend that statement by saying that I know lots of people that love Scotch, but don't enjoy bourbon. Stubbornly so sometimes. Frustratingly stubbornly so, despite me trying to bully them to think otherwise. For me, it's always about if you, the more you taste, the more you appreciate, the more you build up your flavor library, your experiences and things like that, and trying to be as open-minded as possible. All of the things that I love in life, my favorite things to eat and drink, without exception, I once hated. Spicy food, hot olives, beer, whiskey. Certainly I hated whiskey. You know, all of these things I've hated in my life. And
it's all about time.
It needs investment. It needs investment. Yes. Absolutely.
That's why I need to eat so many different foods. All the foods. Yeah. And you have some kind of reference point for some things. I know for me, olives have not made it yet. I do olives and weirdly enough, seafood.
And seafood. Oh, it's gorgeous. But olives, specifically olives, you know, that amazing offset thing. So if you've got like some cold beer, some nice wine, whatever it is that you're drinking, and you have some olives and you have some meats and you have some cheese, and you just kind of have bits and you mix it up, and just olives just makes it shit. And when you get a taste for olives, you will obsess. You will obsess.
I know a place where there's an olive bar, like well, it used to be. I don't know if it's still there, but I used to have an olive bar at one of the grocery stores I went to. So
you've just not found an olive you like yet.
No. They always seem so ridiculously salty. The same thing with what is it, oysters or some kind of shelled thing that's very popular around here. What is it? I can't remember. I like chowder. I like clam chowder, but when it's like the actual out of the shell stuff, I just get all like shivering and blah. Oh, texture. It's a texture problem for me at least. Texture and really salty stuff.
Yeah. You know, I mean, I would have to be honest. I don't remember if I ever hated shellfish. I mean, there was a time that we probably couldn't afford to buy much in the way of that kind of thing. But I don't ever remember hating it, but I remember not loving it. But now shellfish and seafood is again another privilege. Just I'm starving. You can't send me to bed starving. Like I'd stop.
So have a good night. Brush your teeth. Don't think about food. This happens to me all the time, Roy. All the time. I'm like half an hour in. I'm like, I'm so hungry. I'm talking about food now. What's happening? Always devolves into food.
I'm in the cupboard opening a tin of tuna because it's the closest thing I have in the house to some seafood.
I have some snacks right over there. I'm just eyeballing it aside. I'm like, those are good. I wonder if they pair with anything I have.
Right, fantastic. I'm gonna raise a glass. I'm gonna raise a glass of something that I was enjoying on the stream before I joined you tonight, buddy, to close out. Shall I? This was a gift from another Whiskey Tube channel. Phil and Deepa over at Whiskey Mystery. Fantastic, gorgeous people, Phil and Deepa. They're just amazing. Deepa's got
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
The best reactions on YouTube is Deepa's reactions to whiskey. I love it. But they brought over a Springbank, a 1991 Springbank, a little sample for me because they thought it was interesting and they wanted me to let them know what I thought about it. And that's super interesting. Let's go back into it after the bourbons.
Right? It's going to be wild. I forgot I had a bunch of samples here, but I want you to go to bed first. But I will. Here, I'll ask you the question.
Are you staying up to do your samples? Yeah.
Well, yeah, I got 30 minutes left after this. I usually, like I said, it's usually 7 to 8. So I got 30 minutes. I'm just going, well, why not? But I have some here.
You're a good guy.
I wanted to ask you. I have a Clyde Mays 11 year, 120 proof. I'm not sure which one that is.
What?
Clyde Mays. I'm not sure if that's actually Scotch or not.
I'm not familiar.
Put it away. Don't know what it is. They're mixed together. So a Douglas Lang 8-year-old Colila.
Okay.
It's 59.8%. Oh, yeah. Colkagan single malt whiskey, 10-year anniversary release, 50% ABV, 4 years old. And what's this third one? Kilholman, Mackinac Bay cast strength, Christmas 2020 release, 58.6. I know this is one where I was like, oh,
it's the one with the sheep on it.
What is it? Well, it's just I have again. It's a sample, so it doesn't have a sheep. It has the logo though. It's very nice. I bet this was from Cliff. And then a Bowmore 15-year Phil
Fishiel.
Yeah, it's ILIE.
Is that 2022 release?
Yeah, 2022 Isla single malt Scotch whiskey, 54.7.
Right, Ryan, we're doing it, chap. Clean glass.
Stop. I do have a clean glass. I think I picked the right one. Sorry about all the noise if you're hearing that. My desk is scrapey.
Here we go.
There you go. That's a much nicer bottle. That's a very nice bottle, actually.
Well, it's the same thing. So pour a teaspoon of your sample, and I'll pour a teaspoon of my Bowmore, and that's how we'll close out things, okay?
Oh, yeah, I like that.
So this is last year's Fishiel release. I visited Isla, and the only bottle I brought back after I promised myself I wouldn't buy anything, but I gave.
It never works.
It was this. It was 135 pounds, 15-year-old Fishiel, cast strength, 54.7%. So Fishiel is the annual malt and music festival in Isla.
I've heard of that. I want to go to Isla so bad. You have no idea.
Well, Fishiel literally means eel is island and Fish is party. So it's the festival of the island, basically. Fishiel. As I say, and this was mostly this was a first fill bourbon maturation.
Yeah, it says it.
For me, the bourbon casks are really restrained on it.
Jimmy Jazz, by the way.
Jimmy Jazz, what a superstar! And if I was to say to you, if you were in, did you pour some?
I did. I got a clean glass and everything.
Superb. So for good Bowmore, especially Bowmore that's been handled well, you're looking for a tropical note, some tropical fruit, the likes of kind of papaya or mango. I don't know what you would call that kind of profile.
No, that's good. Tropical fruits. I'll say that.
A little bit of grilled pineapple. But also it's heart. It's got a green note. Some people get sage, and some people get all kind of bizarre things. Mostly, it's famously written by originally I think Michael Jackson and then Charlie McLean that it would be a lavender note, and sometimes you get that really kind of outdoor floral lavender thing. But this one for me,
I'm getting it.
Do you know what rosewater is?
Yes, I do, but I don't remember the last time I smelled it. But I know what you mean, and I can see
note
that on here as kind of like the outside of it.
Yeah, this is a floral rosewater thing going on. But bizarrely, you can suddenly talk yourself into salty sweet popcorn, caramel popcorn.
Oh, I got the salty sweet. I don't even know if Jimmy Jazz. What did I say?
He was in earlier.
Jimmy Jazz. He was. Hopefully, he'll see this somehow. But I will thank him again.
Anyway. Slanchava to you, buddy. Let's see your reaction.
Cheers. Oof. Oh man. I got the initial like the texture of it's amazing initially. Oh, he's getting all peppery now.
Are you getting that floral thing? For me, it's
I did at the start. At the start it was kind of floral and almost light. And now I'm getting that like peppery, spicy, slightly peated thing on my tongue.
Yeah. Well, it's slightly peated, 54.7%, so there's enough to bring some pepper and spice.
Yeah.
But for me, it's all
absolutely
kind of yellow fruits, sweet ripe fruits, and then this kind of moves into this bizarrely herbal thing mixed in with this toffee and
is good. I like.
So a good one.
Thank you for suggesting this. Yes, thank you, Roy. Again, I appreciate you being here. Hopefully, we'll get to chat again sometime after the summer break, maybe next year. Maybe we'll see in person at the ball. Who knows? It's all a mystery at the moment.
It's whiskey's mystery, and it'll lead us there some point in the future. I like the whimsy, don't I? Buddy, it's always a pleasure to hang out with you, my friend. Stay healthy, stay happy, and we're always here, all right?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Roy. Thank you again for stopping by. Have a good night, get some sleep, water, have a snack maybe, whatever. Till next time.
Thank you, everyone. Night-night.
Isn't that fun? I love that. Oh, God, so many comments. Oh, I can take these off now. Thank you, everyone, for sticking around. Thank you for all your likes and everything. I'm still going. I got 25 minutes. This is normally when I'd stream from 7 to 8. And I know it's Bourbon Night goes on after at 8 o'clock. So you still have plenty more to stream with, even when I'm done. It's going to be nuts. Oof. So we did get some peated stuff in here, which is good. I was looking at all my bottles of peated stuff going, I don't know. I'm glad I remembered to ask him about my the samples I have. I'm going to keep getting these off. And I got to put the background music on, which I totally forgot about. Oh, whoa. Wow, it's always wild when you take off a headset or earbuds or whatever you want to call them. Because, woof. I feel like I'm hearing things. Everything's louder. All right, hold on. Let's get some music going in the background because that's what I like. I need that kind of slight diversion. That's loud. Don't do that. All right. Get to one chat. Exactly. I agree. Now I can hear other things. That's what it is. I can hear all the background noise, which I didn't hear before. Ah! But yes, I agree. I have more of this. That was just a little bit. I have time. Oh, Ben Demon Hunter. I have one around here. Oof. Clang, clang, sorry. But yes, I have quite a bit of this. I am, you know what? In all likelihood, I'm going to do some kind of peated Scotch thing, giveaway. And if you're new here, I do giveaways. Unfortunately, a lot of you are on Roy's side of the pond. But if you're not, please tune in for that. I try to do giveaways at least every other week or so. I did see, what the hell? I did see Whiskey Nose. Whiskey Nose, hello. I did see you. It's hard to do like 5 things at once, but I did see you. Thank you for stopping in. Thank you for liking and subscribing and all that nonsense. I'll do the thing. Hold on. I also got the bot to do it. I don't know if everyone's seen it. I assume you have, but in chat, every once in a while, it should say something about liking and subscribing. Because then I don't have to say it. I'm happy to advertise what I'm doing, but it's just remembering to do so. Thank you, Whiskey Molly. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Rosewater. No FWP? Hugh Williams, explain. I feel like I don't know what that means at the moment. Rosewater and some cookies. Ooh. I remember it as being some kind of, like almost like water that had been diluted slightly with rose petals. That's the only thing I think of it as. I don't know if that's what it is. But Ben Demon Hunter, yes. I was listening to that earlier today. Was it Corrosion of Conformity, Seven Dust? Anything else? I don't remember. Those are 2 of my favorites. It's on like rotation on my Spotify. By the way, if you're a patron of mine, I have to do it. I do have numerous little benefits. That's one of them. Like I have a Spotify playlist of stuff I listen to. So that's something other than me seeing my crazy lenses every once in a while. Don't worry, I keep my clothes on. That's a different website. Again, thank you. Thank you, Richie, for posting that. That's the one thing I forget. That's down below if you want to click on it there too. Oh, Jimmy Jazz. You're still here. Thank you for this. This is delicious. We have one more. 7:37. Good God, Zenbu. What the heck just happened? What's going on? That's awesome. I don't even know where we started because it just went. I think we were at like 7:21, maybe. I'm not sure. Hmm. Cool. This is really good. Oh, man. He was right. Pretend no one else is here now. Oof. My goodness. There he is. Thank you, Roy, if you're still here. Good night. Sweet dreams. And sweet dreams. You already had enough. Get some sleep. Cheers. Thank you, cheers. Cheers. Santiva. All study. If you're going to bed, please do if you need your sleep. Enjoying in the past. There you go. See, Roy know what that means. I can't think of anything. Peated Irish, 2 stacks, maple, syrup, imperial. Oh my god. That's a lot. I can't think that in my brain. No? Shoot. I've seen it, but I don't know if anyone else has seen it. I had it set for a certain time frame. It says things every once in a while. Oh, here we go. I learned something new today. Jeez. It was weird. Thank you, Roy. Jesus. No, 2000. There you go. That's odd. Oop. Questions? Whiskey guy dislikes people using FWS as it is demeaning to professional women from. I mean, I agree. It's not a nice thing to say about stuff, but that's kind of funny. It's just because it's rose water. Oh, there you go. Ooh, Indian desserts usually respect. See, we did worldwide. I want. Ooh. So now that you said that, I remembered I have a creme brulee thing. It is creme brulee, and it's in my freezer. I haven't made one yet. I'm thinking about it now. I have to use my oven to put on broil. So I'm kind of sketched out about it, but legacy term from the old days. Well, I'm not going to use it. Again, I didn't even know it was a thing until 2 minutes ago. What whiskey am I enjoying these days? Usually bourbons. That's a default for me because of where I am and prices and Irene Tan. That's a lot of it. In the future of my channel, you will see many more Irene Tan picks. And I do know that's not going to be what's the word, Zeitgeist. Like, that's not what people are looking for right now. I learned a while ago, whiskey itself and a whiskey channel specifically, if you keep trying to keep up with what's happening, you are going to lose so much money. And I can't. Like, donations are really appreciated because of that. Like, people can get stuff that I will not find and I cannot afford, and I will happily do a video about it. But as far as what it typically is, it's bourbons have been my default for a while, but I will happily drink any whiskey. So that is the case for me. I'm not strictly set to one type. But I am also fortunate to have Irene Tan's store not too far away. So I get to try some really good stuff, and it becomes almost the coveted super rare stuff that people want, except the people who want it actually drink it because it's good, thankfully, and they appreciate it. Diageo has an anecdote about the well. Oh wait, is he the one people got angry about? I don't know whiskey people very well. Whoops, everything moved. Yes, I'm glad you know her already. That helps. If you haven't gone to her store, do it. Just make sure she's there. You have to call ahead and ask. Because the last thing I want anyone who's into whiskey to have happen is to be excited about visiting Irene Tan's store, and then you get there and she's not around. I think you get to taste stuff anyway, but it's not her. And I know that's really part of the reason people go there. Woo! I drank numerous whiskeys very quickly, and I haven't eaten in a while, so I feel just fine. Wow. 1/3 Irish, 1/3 Scotch, 1/3 Canadian, mostly from local Alberta distillery single malts. I honestly haven't had a lot of Canada. Whoops, speak of the devil. I'm in Canada. Welcome, eh? Sorry. I love her philosophy, letting people try it first. Hell yeah. Exactly what we were talking about earlier is if you want the whiskey, or if you heard about a whiskey and you know about, it's been out there, people have talked about it, you want to try it first because it's freaking expensive. I can only guess how much this bottle was. I know Roy talked about it, but I didn't ask him the price. This 15-year, but more, what it feels Isle, what he said earlier. I don't know how much this cost, but I know it's freaking delicious, and I'm absolutely thrilled that I got to try it. I'm glad someone finally said, drink that one. There it is. I don't know if anyone's seen that. Remember to smack that like button. Subscribe to the channel. It should show up in chat, but I don't know if it does. Collins is great fun. He also has a story about Auchentoshan 3-wood being named after a golf club, according to a young barman. Oh. Well, that young barman probably knows more than I do about it, so there's that. Fish eel, thank you. I was saying wrong. We'll just pour the rest of this. It's only 54%. I haven't eaten since breakfast. We're fine. Jimmy Jazz, you're very generous, by the way. That's the last pour for tonight, by the way. Did I mention it's dry week? If you don't know, the Whiskey Vault / Whiskey Tribe celebrates dry week once a quarter. It is normally something I participate in, except this time I was doing this specific stream with a guest, and I didn't find out about the dry week until after that was all set. So my dry week officially starts tomorrow, and it will go from Monday till Friday. And I will be editing and doing other things the whole time, but not drinking alcohol. So please, if you didn't know, you can start tomorrow. That is my little problem as I start, you're surrounded by whiskey like I am. It becomes the thing you just drink in the late evening or the early evening, which is what I try to do. And since I have a channel and drink a lot of whiskey, I want to make sure we're good. Don't want to start having it be a problem. It's been a problem in my family history, and it's been a problem with me. So, like I mentioned earlier, I need to be cautious. Oh, wow. I'm still a little bedazzled. Hey, cheers from Vegas, ASMR Whiskey. How you doing? I mean, hold on. How you doing? I have no idea how that sounded, but I hope it worked. Ugh, my leg. I don't know how to sit right now. Comfortable. There we go. And your butler says the official dry weeks always seem to coincide with some scheduled drinking, often festivals. Yeah, this is actually the first dry week in, well, for the most part, for the past 2 to 3 years, I have taken that dry week every single time. They do it once a quarter. So there is one time where it was, like you said, it coincided with something else I was doing. And my plan was I took the week off before. So it was like the week before the dry week is what I took off. And then I was able to go to that event. And I don't think I drank much anyway. But for me, I still have to keep check. Rob Smith trying to take a whole week. It doesn't hurt. I'm not saying I have a problem. I'm saying it is a nice self-check. And I do it personally because I need to make sure everything's okay. It can get away from you very fast, and it has before. So I want to make sure, because I definitely, again, I have a very different experience with my whiskey. Most people, it's like, oh, I won't have a drink this week, no problem, and it isn't. But they're also not surrounded by a whole bunch of bottles every day at their desk. I do note that kind of like, oh, I could have a drink tonight. Oh, not wait now. And what I really do, here's the real challenge, because beers are so easy to drink. It's so so convenient. You just have a beer at night or with your pizza. That's especially good. Is I'll buy a 4-pack of a local brewery stuff and put it in my fridge for that week. So I make sure it's like I open my fridge a lot. It's right there, but I consciously say, nope, not now. Don't do it. Stop it. Copy the idea from the Whiskey Vault, but I set my own schedule based on myself. Exactly. And unfortunately, this time around, it didn't quite work for me. So I'll be doing Monday through Friday. So I took a few days extra. And the big problem is because I have to make videos. I have to have a certain time where I do a batch shoot of 3 videos. I usually drink 3 whiskeys at once. Or not at once, but 3 whiskey videos are recorded, and then I edit as best I can throughout the week, which, as I said, I was doing earlier today. I have a lot of dry weeks, just never at the same time as dry. Well, there you go. It's all very circumstantial from person to person. In my case, I do drink frequently. And that's just because of what I'm doing, on top of the fact that when you have this much whiskey around you, and you have dumbass bottles like this, they're just eyeballing you saying like, well, a couple more drinks and it's gone, which is what I want to do. But not right now. Oh, please. You're not quitting. You're checking in. It's important. There's no quitting of it. I mean, I'm probably going to drink whiskey until the day I die, but in all regards, that's a possibility. Fort McMurray, 10 days on, 10. Oh, I forgot. I also have a fatty liver. So that's the real big one, where I have to make sure I'm good, because I don't want this thing going wonky on me. I need to use it. But I do need to give it a break. So that's the other part, specifically for me. But in the long run, for dry week, I'm going to take, the rest of the week off, and then very likely a good amount of next week off, because I want to not, I'm punishing myself for not doing the whole week. But I do know I have to do some recording again. What of? I still haven't decided. But since I'm thinking about it, in these last 9 minutes of the stream, July, I believe It's Bourbon Night is going to celebrate their channelversary. I think. Don't quote me on that. And since it's my birthday month, celebrate every day for a month. If you're not doing that, what are you doing with your birthday? You just expand it. But the plan is, and I hope you will all enjoy this, I have a number of It's Bourbon Night picks. You can't see them. They're kind of off over here. So they're just out of frame. But I have enough to do one each week. So tune in July. I will have 4 different It's Bourbon Night picks. And I hope I will be able to share them with all of you. Won't that be fun? I won't tell you what there are because it's a secret. But there are 4 bourbons, clearly. Thank you, Seaweed World. I appreciate that. I hope I keep doing it as best I can. I do have times when I can't, but that's usually personal brain things. Bad brain days is what I've heard them referred to as. Speaking of which, that's it. That's cheers to that. This is all the Bourbon in one glass, the 15-year. So convenient that Roy had this bottle. The only thing he bought there. It's great. And that I got it from Jimmy Jazz. It's just the serendipity of it all. Good grief. Jimmy Jazz, I need to buy you a drink. At the very least, invite you to some of our tastings. How would you like to come to Newport? Is my question. Blah. Cheers, Ben Demon Hunter. Drive safe. 3 hours from now. Good God. Good luck. Be safe. And thank you for stopping in. Appreciate it. See you next time. All right, a few minutes left. Good God. Can I make it? I'm going to drink a lot of it. This is the rest of the night, by the way. Can you tell? Eee. And I need food. That's the other thing. I have a habit of drinking twice a day. So not because I want to or plan to. Oh, I have sandwich stuff. Yes, let's make an extra big sandwich. Look out. Whiskey Uncensored. Hello. By the way, your video is coming up Wednesday. So, the larceny. That's why I was asking about it. Oh, that's so good. Whiskey Uncensored, you missed it. Roy was here like an hour and a half after his 2-hour stream, or at least hour and something. So, again, I have to thank again and again, Brian. Stop it. What was I saying? It's so nice to have guests. It makes it so fun, and the time just flies. Absolutely flies. And even in this case, where I started, an hour before I normally would to compensate for the fact that Roy is in a different time zone. Maybe I'll get Ken on here someday, but I have absolutely no idea what time it is over there right now. Australia, Ken, Scott down in there. Maybe Ben. Penn's not too far away. Oh, there you go. Poutine. That sounds about right. Good luck. I don't think I've had poutine myself. Poutine. The only reason I know how to mostly say that is because of Tri Channel. There you go. Hanging in there, yeah. Hell, I say to people, I say to people, if you're not, you don't always have to watch streams. It's always nice to have something in the background, like almost a what's it called? Audio thing with words. What is it called? This is my brain, folks. He talked perfectly fine. Poutine. Almost. Four-leaf, hello. Hello. Welcome. You missed Roy. We talked all about Irish whiskey. Talked about a lot of stuff. It's fun. Audio thing with words. I got nothing. It's a thing people listen to, and it's usually people just talking to each other. I know the word. It's just not coming forward right now. I listen to them on occasion, too. That's the worst part. I know what the word is. You don't want to feel like an idiot. Forget what a word. There we go. Podcast. Thank you. You can always use the streams and podcasts, having them on in the background kind of thing. That works fine because I still get the watch hours, you know? Blog. No. We got it. It's a podcast. I don't do, again, it's something you can listen to while you're doing it. I do that a lot. Usually I'm puttering around on my computer while listening / watching the live stream. Or just put it on mute and let it run. Because that counts too. YouTube can't tell the difference. Don't tell them that. What did you notice, though? I will admit, engagement. So if you guys are around watching a stream, just type whatever. Love you. I like cheese. What day is it? Whatever. YouTube, again, doesn't know the difference between what you're saying, but they like the engagement. That's how it works. It's the secrets of the internets on YouTube's. They like it when people interact. They want your time, your consciousness even. It gets too scary if you think about it for too long. So does TikTok, though, so don't watch TikTok. You will just be absorbed by it. It's disturbing. Says the guy who uses it on occasion, but as very small doses because I have to use it. And again, internet. This is amazing. And if you're just showing up now before the stream ends, I am drinking a Bowmore 15-year Fish Eels. I know I said it wrong. 2022 Isla Single Malt Scotch Whiskey, 54.7% ABV, first fill bourbon casks. Donated to the channel by Jimmy Jazz. Thank you, Jimmy Jazz. Again, freaking delicious. And coincidentally, Roy had the same bottle, so we had a little bit of that. I'm telling you, the texture on this thing is phenomenal. It's almost velvety. Yeah, one more. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying to find words. Peach. Spice, like peppery. It's doing a little tongue tingle thing. But in a peppery way, not a high proof or rye stab by tongue way. And what's funny is that initially the peat was up front for me, but as Roy and I were talking and it kind of opened up, I could get the rose water and not so much the herbal notes, but I was thinking of briefly, I had that aloe vera thing, except it's not aloe vera. It's what the aloe vera plant smells like as itself. So that's probably the green note he was mentioning. Woo. Ooh. Proof kicks in if you're just putting your nose too much. Oh, there's the bell. It is 8 p.m. my time. Thank you, everyone, for being here. This has been great. I need some crackers or some food or possibly creme brulee, which is in my freezer. Anyhow, it's Bourbon Nights Live. Check them out. I will pop over there briefly once I've gotten some food in my system. But, ow, my wrist. As always, live long and prosper. Don't forget to be awesome. Roy's awesome, by the way. And I will see you out there. Bye.